Hey, what's up everyone? It's Derek from Nerd or Die, and I want to introduce you to the Glitch Overlay Stream Package. In this video, I'll show you how to set up and customize the event list, install the overlay for StreamLabs OBS, and also a look at how we set up things inside of OBS Studio. Let's get right into it. To start, I've listed the timings for each section in the description, so feel free to jump around the video to get to the parts that you need. The Glitch Overlay Pack features an animated event list with a ton of custom options, animated screen design for starting, intermission, and ending screens, and an animated overlay package that you can use inside of most streaming software. All that you need is streaming software that supports WebM files to use this. It was designed to fit the style of our popular glitch alerts, which I imagine a few of you already use, so it should complement them very nicely and give your channel a nice clean look. We've included stinger transitions and Twitch panels as well, and basically anything that you need should be in this pack. If you don't own this pack and you're just kind of looking into it a little bit, the README file is open to anyone to look at, so make sure to check it out at nerdordie.com/glitch-pack. Let's start with the event list. There are a ton of options for setting this up, so if you're not using this, then I highly recommend that you skip ahead in this video. First, to install, double-click the widget quick setup link in your downloaded files. If you'd like, go ahead and create a new profile and name it something appropriate such as Glitch. The import link that we're using right now will only override the event list installed in this scene collection or alert package. This means that you can combine this event list with any other scene collections you've made in StreamLabs. If you want to save your current event list, then I highly recommend that we go ahead and start with a new profile, which I'm going to do right now. Next, let's select Use for the profile that we want to import into, which of course is the new one that we just created. And after a little bit, you should be brought into your new profile with the event list imported. So under the event list tab, let's add this into OBS Studio, and we'll do this by navigating to the widget URL and copying this unique URL. Now we're going to go ahead and add a browser source into OBS Studio or whatever streaming software you're using, and we're going to paste this URL in. And for the size, we recommend around 300 to 600 tall, but this might change depending on your customization options. And then I do want to mention that this adapts to any width that you set, so it's really up to you how this looks in terms of width and height. And then lastly, if you need to scale down, you can do so directly inside of OBS Studio. If you're using StreamLabs OBS's .overlay file, you may not need to complete this step if your event list is already added in. With this design, we wanted to make sure some of the base options work properly with StreamLabs. So options like theme and theme color, though, they won't work or affect this widget, and there's a couple other, but a lot of these others will, so let's go ahead and cover them right now. So first, we have the Enable Events section, which allows you to decide which events you want to display inside of this widget. So what you want to do is just deselect or select the events that you'd like to show. Then the min options let you set how many viewers for hosts, bits, or raiders for raids will trigger an event. And max events lets you change how many events are displayed at one time. Background color is for preview purposes only, and the preview window is just up here. The text color will change the color of the usernames. Font allows you to pick the font family used in this package. The default is Titanium, which will match the rest of the designs. And then animation and animation speed will have no effect on this widget. Fade time will hold the entire widget after X amount of seconds. Let's say that you want the widget to show for 5 seconds after you get an event and then have it fade out. Just set that to 5. And then when we set it to 0, it will always display the widget no matter how often events happen. The other options will allow you to flip the widget. For example, enabling flip Y will make the events come from the bottom, and then enabling flip X will actually have the animations come in from the right instead of the left. However, I want to mention there are some other things we need to change if you want to completely right align this widget, but we'll get into that in just a bit. And then the last part of this is the HTML and CSS options. And please do not touch these unless you know HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Otherwise, you could cause the widget to not work properly, and generally we don't support custom changes. On top of the base options for Streamlabs, we created custom fields that you can use to edit this package even further. Click the Custom Fields tab to begin, and please do not click the Reset Code or Remove Overlays button. First, we have glitch frequency. The lower that the slider is, the more often the glitch effect that happens on the text will trigger. And then you can also enter 0 to disable this completely. Text alignment is the direction that your text is aligned to. This option is a text field that by default is set to left. If you want to change this, you need to update the text field to read left, center, or right, and don't include any quotes or any spaces, and make sure everything is lowercase when you type into this field. So for example, if you want the text to be centered in the box, just type in the word center, or if you want it right aligned, type in right. And then we have the options for the tag, and this is what will typically say follower, subscriber, etc. Use this slider to set the font size. The color picker will change the color of the font, and then the following slider will change the distance between the tag and the username. So again, all these options will only affect the tag of each event. We'll next find a group for sections, and this basically means each individual event. The first option that we have for sections controls the space between each section or the margin. Now, this by default is 0, which is why they're basically touching when you look at them originally. And if you want to have some space in between them, just increase the slider here. Then we have options for padding with separate sliders for the vertical and horizontal padding. This is the area between the text and the border of each section. So if you want a little space in between just to give a little room for this text to kind of live, then increase or you can decrease this as well. You'll be able to select the background color here for each section, as well as the background opacity. A lower value for the opacity means that you'll be able to see through the background of the events more. Or of course, if you want to turn it up, you can, and have the color just be completely solid. By default, the right side of the events fades out a bit. So basically it goes from 100% opacity on the left to 0% opacity on the right. If you'd like to change this, the opacity for the right side of the background option will help here. So if we turn this all the way up to 100%, you will have it be the same color throughout. One thing I want to say though is if you did use the flip X option, it will kind of be backwards. So it'll be 0% on the left or whatever you put in the slider here on the left. So if you're using that option, just double check what's going on and it will make sense once you see it. Then finally, we have the options for the divider, and these just simply control the height and the color of the little bar that divides each event. To finish up the event list, I do want to mention that we know there are a lot of options, but we wanted to give you the freedom and the opportunity to change these up according to your channel's needs. If for any reason you need to revert to the default options, you can always re-import the event list with the unique file that you've downloaded, or you can refer to the README file found at nerderdie.com/glitch-pack. This is where we've listed each default option under the installation guide section. Let's go ahead and take a look at the overlays next. We'll start with installing these in StreamLabs OBS, then move on to a quick OBS Studio guide. If you haven't already, I do recommend trying out this program. We've included a link to it inside the StreamLabs OBS folder, and there's also one in the description below. It just makes things really easy for us to get to you guys and makes this setup completely simple. So you'll see here in a couple seconds what I mean. With StreamLabs OBS open, click on Settings towards the top right and navigate to the Overlays section. Here we want to click Import Overlay. Then select the .overlay file that's located in your StreamLabs OBS folder. After a few seconds, all the files and settings for this overlay will be imported, with the exception of the stringer transitions, which we'll cover in just a bit. You'll first see an image that lets you know about the stingers and about the README file. So since you're watching this video, we can go ahead and move on to the next scene. But before we do that, I do just want to mention that you can manage your scene collection by clicking the drop-down icon right here. You'll see any collections of the scenes that you've already made, so any previous overlays you worked on or just previous stuff you've used. and then any imported ones as well. And you'll see that the Nerded Eye one is automatically named and right here for you to switch to. This makes it just easy to manage the collections that you need in case you stream different games or just want to change things up every once in a while. The stream starting scene has all the files that you need already imported into it and a few icons and text sources set up. Now you can edit these text sources by clicking in the preview area to select them, then double clicking in the source area to open up their properties. Now you can just update the text file to whatever you like. You can do the same thing for the icons as well. Just open up properties for each and replace them by using the browse button and selecting new icons as needed. And then go ahead and rename the sources if you'd like to. Add any additional media, image, or text sources that you'd like. We did go ahead and we included some sample backgrounds that you can use in your streams, but if you'd like, you can remove this and then add in your own game images or video files behind the stream starting animation, as it has transparency to it. So you can basically put whatever you want behind this and it will show up just fine. For the intermission scenes, you can also add in your own media or display captures and frame it into this little webcam / display capture frame that we made, as long as they're not behind your background source, of course. You should also notice that in each scene, we populated them with alert and chat boxes, and you can disable or hide these if you don't want to use them, but they will be automatically synced to your StreamLabs account since this is StreamLabs OBS. The in-game scenes are pretty straightforward. Just add in whatever game or display capture that you'd like to use and make sure it's behind everything. And then you can add your webcam source behind one of the frames that we added. And you can probably notice that these are a bit different in terms of their orientation, where one's more 16:9 and the other is more square. So it's really up to you which one you'd like to use. And finally, we already set up alert and event list type widgets. So feel free again to disable or edit these as needed. And before we finish up with this section on StreamLabs OBS, you can go ahead and enter in the label files that we've included with the dot overlay. And what I mean by that is certain sources are actually labels. So you don't have to run StreamLabs stream labels or a program like the Muxy Ticker or whatever anymore. You can simply do it right in here. So when you double click these sources, you'll see that the label is for the all-time top donor or something like that. You can just change this to whatever label that you want. Maybe you want it to be your session top tipper or whatever. So you can do that here very easily and very quickly. Now, what about setting this up in OBS Studio? And to be quite honest, it's pretty much the same as most of the other overlays that we've created before. In OBS Studio, you'll just go ahead and make multiple scenes. And in each scene, we'll add mixtures of media sources, image sources, and text sources. So in this example, the background is an image source. Then I added a media source for the stream starting graphic. And then what I did, of course, was just link these sources to the files that I've downloaded. So the stream starting graphic can be found in the screens folder. From there, I just added an icon in with a image source. And then I added in a text source that I put next to it. And really quick, what I do want to talk about is this text source. I'm actually using the font Titanium. However, with OBS Studio, you might not have access to this font since it's not installed locally. So to fix this, what you need to do is download and install the font that we linked in the description below. And this will also be found in the README page under Before You Install. Moving on, let's take a look at the in-game scenes that we're going to set up. So we're using media sources for the webcam frame, and we're also using a media source for the supporter section. For this particular media file that I'm using, it includes the labels on it, such as top tipper. So we can add a text source for the individual label, and then we'll select the Titanium font and enter in some demo text. And what this is going to turn into is your follower name or your top tipper name. And what we're actually doing here is just entering in demo text or filler text so we can find the right font size and then position it correctly. And remember, it's best to pick a larger font size than you need if you have to, because when you scale up text in OBS Studio by just dragging it, it can get blurry at times. Once you have things in place, you can go back into the text source properties and select Read from File. Then you'll select the text file that you want this source to read. If you're new to this, you'll use a program like StreamLabs Stream Labels that runs on your PC, And a program like this will update the text file with your latest follower or tipper or whatever, which in turn gets automatically updated inside of OBS. So what we want to do is select browse and then find the text file that the program created that we're using and select the appropriate file. If the preset versions of these support sections aren't worded properly, so for example, you prefer donation instead of top tipper or something like that, you can always add in the blank versions of each media file and use a text source to create your own custom labels. So you can change the language or you can just word it differently. And in this pack, you'll find both horizontally and vertically oriented label sections for you to use. For the last part of this video, let's set up our Stinger transitions, and this is very simple to do. With your files downloaded, you'll have a Stinger transition zip file, and this is actually separate from the overlay files, so make sure you grab that in your email or on your account page, and extract this somewhere on your computer. Once you've done that, open up OBS Studio and select Stinger under the Scene Transition sections. Some of you might have installed the Stinger Transitions plugin previously, and if you've done this, you'll need to remove that. And you'll know that it's installed and it's the plugin if it says Stinger Transitions instead of just Stinger. And if you use Stinger Transitions, this will not work properly. So please make sure you're using the version that's included with OBS Studio now that just says Stinger. And if you don't know what I'm talking about and you never installed a plugin, don't worry about it. You won't even see this. So go ahead and click the gear icon and go to Properties. For the video file, browse and choose the Stinger file that you've downloaded from us. And then for the transition point type is time milliseconds. The transition point will be 1500. If the Stinger had sounds, we'd choose monitor and output, but it does not, so you can leave this at the default value. And the same with the last option, just go ahead and leave that at default. After that, hit OK, and whatever you change scenes, you should see this custom transition animated that we created for you, and hopefully everything looks right and is working well. But let's go ahead and move on to setting up Stinger transitions in StreamLabs OBS. This is a very similar process, but let's go over it anyways. Click the gear icon that's on the left side, and this will be next to the Scene Collections label. Change transition to Stinger, set duration to 3000, choose the Stinger video file with the browse button. And again, this will be the file that you've downloaded from us. This file again can be found in its own separate zip file. It is not included with the overlay zip file that you might have downloaded already. We'll go ahead and leave the transition point type to time milliseconds and then enter in 1500 for the transition point. Leave your other options at default and you'll be good to go with the Stinger transition anytime that you switch scenes. And that about wraps up everything that we have for this new overlay pack. You can see that we included a lot with this pack, and this video is probably one of the longest tutorial ones we've made so far. So I really hope you guys enjoy this. Please let us know in the comments below what you think about this product, or if you have any questions about it at all, we'll be happy to answer. And if the video helped you out, don't forget to leave a like on it. Also, if you're interested in more streaming and gaming related content, don't forget to subscribe with notifications on. And we have some more videos coming very soon, which I don't think that you'll want to miss. As always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.